Many people have assumed Exodus might be a couple of years out, but recently Exodus has had some pretty major information about its release window revealed, and Archetype Entertainment also might have just slipped up and subtly revealed at the very least a brief description and a name for a new companion that will be joining us on our journey, which apparently we've already briefly seen in the gameplay trailer. Not to mention, we get some additional screenshots of the Traveler's Handbook, courtesy of an article which will be linked fully down below. We will be breaking down all of this new information with my thoughts and speculation, but before we get into all of that, make sure to go ahead and scroll down real quick and hit that thumbs up button on the video to show off your hype for Exodus. And while you're down there, make sure to subscribe to the channel for continued coverage on this up and coming franchise. But without further ado, let's get right into the video. First on up, let's start with the character that was teased. On February 19th, Archetype Entertainment on their official site for the game released a major highlights version of their collab stream with Code Carnage, where they unveiled the gameplay trailer for the game, and held a brief Q&A with him and the fans in the chat in attendance during the livestream event. This video, for anyone who hasn't checked it out or the full stream already, does a great job of showing the major takeaways from it, and I highly recommend giving it a view if you haven't already. But that's not the important part. The important part is actually the brief description they give in their post on the site about the highlight video in question. At the beginning, it says the following. Back in December, we unveiled our first gameplay trailer, Exodus: The Traveler's Creed, during our epic Explore Exodus livestream event featuring Twitch streamer Code Carnage, studio co-founders James Olin and Chad Robertson, and visionary filmmaker Tim Miller, founder of Blur Studio. From the clever and quirky K to bold new characters and creatures, every second of The Traveler's Creed is filled with awesome action to explore. Now we want to know, what are your favorite moments? And then after that, they list a couple of James Olin and Chad Robertson's favorite parts from the trailer, but if you caught it, it's the part in the second paragraph at the very beginning, from the clever and quirky K, which means we, unbeknownst to a lot of us, actually got a reveal of the character named K, who is going to be clever and quirky by their own words. Also, with some help from people over on the unofficial Discord server, apparently seeing this article in French depicts that because words used to describe K have a feminine connotation to how it's used in the language, kind of like in Spanish, which I myself am personally more familiar with, and how it uses an O ending to insinuate masculine words or adjectives, and an A ending in words to insinuate feminine words or adjectives. People from the unofficial Discord were able to discern that apparently K is supposed to be referencing a female. Currently I, and many more because of this, are convinced that K will in fact be one of the women that we see in the trailer. Now when it comes to which one, your guess is as good as mine, as from the trailer we see two female potential companions or shipmates, being the woman from the very beginning of the trailer who asks June if he's sure as it's his last chance to bail, and also the woman in the trailer later on in the white suit who has the weird egg-shaped backpack, which I think is to carry Remnant Celestial tech. Which, if you have no idea how I got to that conclusion, make sure to check out my original gameplay trailer breakdown, which shows why I think that's what the backpack is for, which will be linked in the description of this video if you're interested. Now, if I had to personally choose as to who I think it is based completely off of this one sentence, I would say that it might actually be the pilot that we see at the start. One, because of how the sentence is itself. It says, from the clever and quirky K to bold new characters and creatures, which might actually imply the order that we see them in throughout the gameplay trailer itself. When it comes to the first people we see, again, it's hard to beat one of the first scenes being June and the female pilot at the very beginning of the trailer. And two is actually from a descriptor we get in the new screenshots from the Daily Star on the Traveler's Handbook, which apparently these people already have their hands on the full book, which I am so jealous of, by the way. In it, we get a screenshot of 4 of the major traits or skills being acrobatics, athletics, astronautics, and botany. Focusing on our point of why K might be the female pilot, we are going to look at the astronautics section. It's a bit hard to read, but when you go to 200 times zoom, it's readable when you check out the full article. In it, it says, you need to chart a course to another in-system world, and its example is a DC-12 intelligence check. But that part is slightly cut off as the image comes to an end. This is going to sound like a stretch, especially because I'm pretty sure every one of our companions will at the very least be somewhat clever, but this to me implies that K being described as clever could mean that it's the reason we picked them up as our pilot and chart our course to in-system planets in our Osprey, that we maybe travel to in our Cormorant. Then where we get to around where we want to be in the Cormorant, K would go in and take us in and land us on the planet of our choosing with the Osprey. I could be completely and utterly wrong, but with the context clues, the section from the astronautics, and the brief description we get in the sentence, this is my best guess as to who K actually is from the gameplay trailer. Moving on to the next topic being the article with the additional 3 images of the Traveler's Handbook, we can see the first and foremost, the art across all of these pages and the 8 pages they gave us a preview of on their official site to purchase the book is fantastic. I mean, so far, I haven't seen a single page from the Traveler's Handbook that doesn't look amazing. So I'm of course super excited to get my hands on it and break down some of the big lore implications and cool things we'll find in there right here on the channel when the book ships out. Also, if you want a full breakdown of the 8 pages we have already seen with a word-for-word read-through with a full breakdown and speculation on everything in it, make sure to check out this video on screen, which will be linked down below in the description if you're interested. In these pictures, we get a weird shot of the cover, which looks gorgeous by the way, but the money shots of these screenshots are definitely the other 2 pictures. One of which we already touched on, being the 2 pages that show some of the skills or traits that characters can put points into seemingly when we're creating our characters for the tabletop RPG. These images show us maneuvering in 0 gravity for acrobatics, someone lifting an insanely heavy looking object for athletics, a sort of beacon or satellite dish for astronautics, and researchers observing and getting samples from a plant for the botanist skill, with each providing a brief description of how they could be useful throughout your campaign and the type of checks those skills will be used for throughout your adventures. Finally, after that image, we get our final one, which is of 2 more suits, just like those that were shown to us in the teased 8 pages for the book. Except instead of an assault suit and a chameleon suit, we are now getting a look at a climber suit and a wetsuit, where the climber suit is the original Aegis suit that Maxine has in the reveal trailer for the game, which apparently is used for rugged and vertical terrain, and the wetsuit is used for aquatic conditions, gas giant atmospheres, and other high pressure conditions. And again, I just have to say it one last time. The art within all of these pages are just so beautiful and has me clamoring for seeing all of these pages and lore entries for the franchise. Finally, let's get into the real juicy bit that you probably actually came here for. A confirmed release year, or I guess initial release window for the game has been revealed. This comes directly from Hasbro's investor call, which for those of you that don't know, Exodus is being published by Wizards of the Coast, who are a subsidiary of sorts of Hasbro. So any investor call or earnings calls that could hint to the game's release are all coming through Hasbro themselves. This recent one that just passed on February 20th just revealed that Exodus is slated to be coming out internally for now anyways in the year 2026, which is a lot sooner than a lot of people have been thinking until now. On the last page in particular, they say the following. As we look to the playing to win strategy out beyond 2025, we expect total Hasbro revenue to grow at a mid-single digit growth rate from 2025 through 2027, with the acceleration driven by momentum in Magic, a stronger entertainment slate of toys, and the launch of internally published video games, starting with Exodus in 2026. Also, they say this a bit earlier in the document. We have been investing in video games for over 7 years, through our portfolio in over a dozen projects in various stages of development, coupled with 100+ licensing partnerships. I'm excited to show off our first project, Exodus, to the world when we launch it in 2026. James Olin, the creative visionary behind Exodus, has a track record of success serving as the design leader for Baldur's Gate 1 and 2, as well as the creative director during the golden age of BioWare, who helped to helm the creation of the Dragon Age and Mass Effect franchises. Lastly, apparently Exodus's budget will increase incrementally as said here. New business opportunities like our self-published video games, including 2026's release, Exodus, will receive higher incremental investment. meaning that this could be the ramp up in funds that could go towards marketing like a lot of people have been wanting for the game to have more fans and overall exposure. Overall, this means that as of right now anyways, 2026 is the year Exodus is supposed to come out, although they themselves apparently don't even know when they're launching it, based off of this excerpt here provided by another member of the unofficial Discord. That states, and then the third piece is the video game launch in Exodus that will become the third kind of peak that we see. And depending, we haven't nailed down the specific launch date of Exodus, but it will happen at some point in 2026. So that will be a little bit of lumpiness of growth depending on when that launch timing is set. Personally, I could definitely see a summer to winter window for the game. I know a lot of games aren't prominent of coming out during the summer, but having less competition for a budding franchise and having more eyes centered on this game in particular could be just what this new IP needs to be lifted off the ground. Although only time will really tell. As of right now, I still think we will see some sort of reveal either at or during the time of Summer Game Fest this year. But I think for sure they will be at the Game Awards this year, the place where they initially revealed the game, and come back with an awesome trailer, and maybe even Matthew McConaughey, in order to excite people during a more major marketing push as they possibly even unveil an official release window or even full-on release date during the event. That's all just my speculation though. The only thing officially confirmed is that 2026 is supposed to be the year that Exodus video game is launching as of this investors meeting. Overall, let me know your thoughts on everything revealed this week. Are you excited since 2026 is supposed to be the year of Exodus? Are you just like me where you can't wait to get your hands on the Traveler's Handbook? And who do you think Kay will end up being from the gameplay trailer? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section down below. For everyone who's made it this far, thank you so much for making it to the end of the video. If you enjoyed or found it entertaining, make sure to scroll down and make that like button glow so we can reach our like goal of 25 likes for this video. While you're down there, consider subscribing as we'll be covering Exodus as updates come out, and make sure to check out some of my other Exodus content, like the Exodus podcast I just launched with my co-host, where we talk everything Exodus on Traveler Talk, and my speculation on every companion that's teased on their official site for the game and who I think they might end up being. As always, your support through your viewership, liking, and subscribing is always greatly appreciated and helps me out tremendously against the celestial threat that is the YouTube algorithm. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to catch you guys next time. Peace!